I had quite a frustrating week in the sewing room this week, all down to a basic pattern that I have made a few times, New Look 6483. However, I did do a fun project this week, which is so successful, I'm very excited to show you. My name is Carole and welcome to my sewing room. This is #Friday Sews, where we talk about sewing and a little bit of live chat at the end. Of course, Friday Sews, #Friday Sews is an enormous community of sewers with, I think, 300 channels, started by the wonderful Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. I love catching up with seeing what everybody else has been doing, see if they've had a better week than me, or makes me feel a bit better if they've had a bad week like I have, apart from one thing. I'm going to start with this pattern though. This lovely 1 hour easy pattern took me a good couple of days to get my head round. Now, I have made this before, many times successfully. In fact, I am wearing a version I made a couple of years ago. As you can see, it's a nice fit. There's nothing wrong with it. It's in a beautiful viscose linen that I bought, and I just love this top. I wear it all the time because it's really comfortable. So I have made this. I think I've got about 3 others as well. Where did I go wrong this time? As you can see, it is behind me and it now fits, but I had to do a lot of messing around. I've got several versions of this pattern. When I first started making it, I used to cut a size 8, but the recent ones, I thought I cut a size 10 as I had one cut out in a size 10. I can't remember which this one was, but I'm pretty sure the last one was a size 10. So I made it up in a size 10, and this bit here was ridiculously big on me. It just sat over here and it was all floppy and gathered here. Honestly, I was gutted because I do really like that fabric. You can see I have a kind of thing for blue and white, don't you? So what did I do? The annoying thing was I had to, if I take it off and I'll show you the facing inside of it. So this has got kind of one of these big facings on the front and back, which is cool, which is good, because I had done all that and then worked out that it was too big here. So I had to take all the facing off, and all I did was just reduce that bit in a bit. I pulled it in by about 1.5 centimeters, just brought it in, and now I get the good fit. So I'll show you in the photos. It is still, it's slightly gappy here, but that's being picky. I mean, the bust starts all in exactly the right place. I just obviously needed to grade down to an 8 on the shoulders, which is what I think I should have done. Also, I forgot in the back, you've got an opening, but I've just sewed a button on because you don't need it. But that really is a bit gappy as well, just needed to be brought in, but I wasn't going to play around with that. To make it look a little bit more fancy this time, I added a little button on the side, either side, just on the split detail to make it look a bit cuter. So obviously I'm really happy with it now. My frustration is the fact that I've done this many times. It is a 1 hour pattern, although I've never managed to do it in an hour, because every time I do it, every view has a different facing, and I always cut the wrong facing for the wrong view. Having said that, I will admit this doesn't have a facing at all. When I made this one, I just turned narrow hem under. Now, actually, that makes it feel a bit less restrictive. So, shouldn't have told you that because you probably thought this was a good one. But there we go. So that was my frustrating start from the week. Now, this is about sewing, so the first clip I'm going to show you, you might think, why is she showing us this? But I promise you, in the end, it's about sewing. I recently bought some new bedding. So this is a duvet cover and pillowcase. Obviously I live in the UK where we have duvets, used to be called continental quilts when they first came over. So we got a duvet cover and pillowcase. It is Laura Ashley. It is very, very pretty. Absolutely pretty fabric. Will make one day some wonderful clothes. But for now, it is a new set of bedding. But how annoying is this? It looks so pretty, but they have on the side of the pillowcase these enormous long ties that you create the bow to seal it. Now, I'm sorry, I've slept a couple of times with it and they just drive me insane, and like my arms all get all tangled up with it because I do sleep with my arm under the pillow. This is the duvet cover, and again we have many ties all along the bottom, look. So the idea is that you put your quilt in and then you tie all these bows all the way along the bottom of the quilt. Very pretty, but life is too short, I'm afraid, to do that. I had no idea when I bought it that that is what it is. You know, you've still got the buttons to do it up. So this is purely decorative. Now I'm going to do something really probably terrible, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut all these off. I've tried it. I really don't like it. It looks messy. So I'm going to go through and cut all these strands off. So yes, I did cut all those ties off. And I know you're probably screaming at the channel saying, what are you doing? That is such a waste of fabric. Well, hold on to your hat. I now have 24 strips. They're all exactly the same length. And I have ironed them. Now I want to try and do something with them so they're not wasted. Initially, I thought maybe of doing a cushion and overlapping them. I'm going to have a play around and see what I think. If I like them and just overlap them like that, that doesn't look great, does it? It doesn't look contrasting enough because you can't really see the lines. So I'm not sure about that one. On to my next idea of weaving them all in and out. So I have weaved together all the pieces in a kind of square. You can see the texture on it, which is good. I've pinned it for now because I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with this. But yeah, that kind of works because you can see the texture better than the strips just sewn together like that. Yeah, still thinking. So would you like to see what it turned out to be? I did make a cushion from it. Now, I'm really excited about this. Luckily, my mum had just given me a load of old sheets, and it was this gorgeous colour, yellow colour, really lovely quality sheets that she no longer needed. So I have made a pillow out of those annoying ties, and do you know how happy that makes me? I had never done anything like this before, weaving these, and I really didn't know what I was doing. But as you can see in that video, I weaved them all and I pinned them down. Then I thought, how am I going to keep them in place? So I got some of this fabric, a square of that fabric, and I used my stick and spray, put that on this fabric, and then stuck these down on it just to keep it all in one place, even though I have pins all the way around. So I sewed those two things together and then trim around it, and then obviously I then went ahead and made the normal envelope cushion where this side is sort of almost sort of 1.5 times it, and you know how to make an envelope cushion. If you don't, there are so many YouTube channels on it. What do you think? My husband said to me, because my husband said the ties are ridiculous, so stupid. He said, you ought to send that to Laura Ashley and say, look what I did with your annoying ties on the bottom of that bedding. You can tell I'm happy with this. I turned something that was extremely frustrating into a pretty little cushion, and I'll put a picture up of it on the bed. But yeah, I didn't waste the ties. I would never do that. It's Laura Ashley fabric. If I'd have thrown those ties away, Jen would be on the phone to me straight away saying, what are you doing? As I said in the video, obviously one day this will make some beautiful clothing because it is pretty, but had to share that with you. I wanted to talk to you about something actually, that I had a very interesting comment from a viewer this week, and I'm not going to say who it was. She asked me just a question: how long does it take you to make a garment, like a top or something? I thought it was a bit of an odd question, but I answered it, and as we all know, it depends on the style of the pattern you're making, the fabric, whether you've made it before, whether you haven't made it before, if it's new to you, how long you've been sewing. It's how long is a piece of string really. But I did give her a kind of idea of how long it would take me just to make a top that maybe I'd made before. I then asked her, why did you ask? And she said something that I really hit home to me. She said, well, I watch a lot of Friday sews and I'm quite a new sewist. I'm a beginner sewist, and I see all these people making all these garments, you know, 4 or 5 in a week, say, and I just feel just not good enough because I can't produce that. Please never feel like that. We all have different amounts of time we can spend sewing. Some of us are holding down full-time jobs, like the lovely Izzy from Dizzy Quilts and Sews. I don't know how she has time to sew anything. You've got Tiffany, who's your handmaid, who has a little one. We all have a different amount of time, and we all sew at different speeds, and we've been sewing various different lengths of time. So please, if you're a beginner, please don't be put off by the amount of things I say. Hey, look what I've made this week. You know, lots of things. We've all got to start somewhere. And the best thing is just to make a garment that you're pleased with and that you can wear. That's it. That's all we want, isn't it? We just want to be happy with our lovely hobby. And that is what it is. This is our hobby. This is our safe space. This is where we kind of switch off from the outside world and we sew. So just be happy with what you're achieving. Don't worry about what anyone else is churning out. And yeah, I got lots of time, so I do manage to sew a few things, but I just wanted to tell you that about that comment, just in case there's anybody else out there feeling exactly the same. So after that serious bit of announcement, now back to sewing. And what else have I been sewing this week? Well, I've managed to sew up the garment that the fabric wheel chose for me. Fabric and pattern wheel this time. So I'll put a link to the video, but this is where this wheel is determining what I'm going to sew next. And it chooses the pattern and it chooses the fabric. As I say, I'll put the link to the video there so you can kind of get what it's on about. But what it landed on this time was this Simplicity pattern 8949 and this fabric. Now that video will be coming out next week, and thank you everybody that warned me about this pattern. I'm not saying it's a bad pattern, you're gonna have to watch the reveal on that one, but everybody told me a couple of things and they were dead on right. It is made. It does look kind of pretty in this fabric, and if you watch my original video you'll know I was a little bit worried. Had to tweak it slightly. It wasn't without some fun, but yeah, I'll put that video out next week. I did manage to start a t-shirt, and at the moment it's being unpicked. I picked up this Birder pattern in a sale, 6/8/20. It's just in a shop, just in a sale rack. T-shirt, I'm always on the lookout for a t-shirt pattern. Why? I don't know. It is tight fitting. I certainly didn't make that version. I made a nice long, well actually I probably made the longest version. It does say tight fitting. What I was thinking of, I don't know. But I have made it, but I'm currently unpicking it to try and make it a little bit bigger. I will report back on that next week. I don't know why I'm still looking for a pattern. I realised and remembered that I did the Malva tee from Hazel Hen Patterns about a couple of months ago now, and that was really good for me. So what was I thinking? What will I be sewing next week? Well, I put out a fabric haul video earlier this week of all the fabrics that I bought in Beyond the Pink Door, and also another shop in Dorset. And one of them was this lovely green linen, old lady linen colour I called it in the video. I need to make another pair of trousers, so I'm going to use what I've used many times before, and there's a firm favourite by a lot of people, and that's Simplicity 8841. I think Trish makes loads of these, the lovely Viv Mum makes these, so I've made them and I'm going to make some more. It's really nice linen. So that's what I'd like to do next week. I also haven't made any t-shirts for the boys recently, or anything for the little ones in my family. So I have got some fabric lying around, so I really want to try and get that fabric used up before they grow out of the designs that I have it in for them. Nearly forgot. One other thing I want to do this week is I found this in the bottom of my wardrobe. This is a dress that I bought in a thrift shop when I went to Florida with the lovely Jen and Trish back in March. And what I wanted to do was cut this off and make a maxi skirt with it. Apologies that it's creased, but haven't ironed it because it's been in the bottom of the wardrobe. So yeah, at the moment it's got this sheared top. Absolutely no way would I wear that. I don't want anything making this area look bigger. So yeah, so I'm going to try and do that this week. I don't know where I'm going to cut it off and at what point, but hopefully that would just be a quick little project, but nearly forgot to tell you about that. So we've been back home this week and the weather has been hot and sunny. Yes, summer has finally hit and seems to be staying in the UK. So there's lots of English people going around moaning about how hot it is. You can't win with us. But then again, we don't have the aircon in our houses to cope with the heat. So being back at home, doing a bit of sewing. This weekend, we're actually dog sitting. If you see in the video actually where I was modelling this, that was my daughter's dog around the garden. Used to be the lovely Mickey, but that's my daughter's dog Reggie. So he is coming to stay with us this weekend, which will be lovely because we can do some dog walks and just have a bit of doggy cuddle time, which we both kind of need, I will admit. So that's what we're doing this weekend. So I might have time for some sewing. I really want to get a few projects cut out. I'd like to make another bag for my daughter. I'll just grab it. I want to make another one of these, and this is the bag with the navy strap. So I showed you this when I was last Friday sews, when I was sat in the holiday home. I said it needed a navy strap, and yeah, it looks a lot better now. I've also managed to get some smaller D-rings, and I unpicked it all and put those smaller D-rings on. So I'm very pleased with this. I would like to make another one for my daughter out of some kind of Disney fabric, but she says, can I make it a bit smaller? So that should be easy enough to work out, surely. Just sort of scale everything down a bit, perhaps. So less squares maybe, and less distance there. Anyway, I'm going to have, hopefully I want to have a go with it, at least get some bits cut out for that. But yeah, still love that. Now I need to start using it. So I would just like to thank you all for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's #Friday Sews. If you aren't a subscriber, please come and join the gang. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Have an amazing weekend. Happy sewing, and if you're in the UK, stay cool and don't moan about the weather because it never lasts long. I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.